Hello, everyone. I am Jessica44, and welcome to another random vlog of randomness. Nice way to move in, because I happen to just move into a bigger room. Very nice. I have so much space to move around in now. Anyway, yes, it's another vlog that's happening in VR chat instead of, you know, using the VTuber model, because there's just a couple things I wanted to talk about and the like. First off, it has been a month since I started doing Horizon Zero Dawn and doing the Let's Plays with the model and the like, and, well, the streams with the model and the like, and uploading them as Let's Plays. And how has it been going? Well, there was like a one-day surge for the first episode, and then it went back down to kind of a low level, which then had a surge for about a week when the sequel to Horizon came out. That started petering out again. I was hoping for a little more attention, but I don't know. On Twitch, it's been more or less the same. So I don't know. It was an attempt. Maybe it didn't pan out, but I intend to at least finish off the games. But I am curious from you guys. Anyone who's been watching it for the past month or so, please tell me, what do you think? Has it been working? Has the model in the corner been a bit too distracting, or has it added to it? Do you think it's better if I'm looking straight at the camera or turning to the side and then turning to the camera on occasion? Am I doing things right? Am I doing things wrong? Is there anything you don't like that things need to be fixed? Anything you do like? I just want feedback, people. I need to know whether what I'm doing is working or not. I mean, I'm so low that there's not really much I can do to see anything unless it's like a huge surge. So please leave comments below and let me know what you think. Outside of that, well, honestly, considering how long Baldur's Gate 2 has turned out being, I'm kind of glad I decided to do the 2 episodes a day thing. Is it a bit of a change? Yes, admittedly, but I've gotten into a routine with when I do the editing and the uploading and everything to make sure that everything goes up at the right time. Scheduled times. It's nice to have them instead of trying to figure things out and just throwing them up whenever. So I'm glad to be able to do that. That's going to continue. And because Baldur's Gate 2 is going so long, I am very glad that I was able to start doing Horizon Zero Dawn on the side. I'm glad I chose to do that. It lets me add a little more variety, even if they are still going a long time, and, well, that seems to help. I don't know if I'm going to continue doing 2 after I finish Horizon. This has been an experiment. Hasn't been as great as I thought, but it was an experiment. Then again, I admit I also think I may have screwed up the algorithm a bit when I tried the experiment of, hey, let's try putting clips from the streams in here. That did actually boost up views for a bit, until I stopped putting the clips in, because I was having trouble finding clips, at which point things kind of shot down quite a bit, and it hasn't recovered yet. My guess is I kind of screwed up the algorithm by throwing those up there. The algorithm said, oh, you're doing short clips now. Well, we'll promote those, and make sure you do more of those. Otherwise, we're not going to promote anything you do. Yeah, well, I didn't do those anymore because I was having trouble finding things, and yeah. That's a guess. I have no idea if true or not, but eh. It was what it was, so what can I say? So, like I said, give feedback on what you think about how the channel has been. Stop doing that. On what you think about how the channel's been doing and whether you think there's anything I can improve or anything like that. I know, I still haven't done anything with stuff like thumbnails or stuff like that. Call it laziness, call it me not knowing where to even start. I don't know. I probably need to find a person. I'm not going to get into that whole thing again. Anyway, that was more or less the main thing I wanted to talk about with how the channel's been going after a month of this experiment. Outside of that, things are going okay. Like I said, Baldur's Gate is proving a lot longer than I expected, and I haven't gotten into the expansion to it yet. So I have no idea how much longer I've got. I'm at 120 something videos, and I've got like another 12 or so in the docket. This is going to go on for another month. Jeez, I did not expect Baldur's Gate 2 to be a 6-month thing. Horizon Zero Dawn, I have no idea how long it's going to be. I'll find out as I play it. Considering the games I play often end up about 3 months or so, maybe that's how long it'll be. After that, I don't know. Maybe I'll find another game to do on the side. Maybe I'll just keep the 2 games thing as kind of a backup in case one game ends up going a bit longer than I expected, or or a game comes out that I really wanted to do. Like, say I'm doing a game and I'm in the middle of it and I can't stop, and all of a sudden, oh, hey, Queen's Wish 2 is out. Well, obviously, I'd have to do the double thing then, wouldn't I? I don't know. I'll figure things out. That's something to figure out in the future. Outside of that, streaming continues as it is. Still not that many people showing up, but hey, show up if you can and enjoy with the watching. I guess the only other thing that's really been of note that I've been paying attention to is, well, Guild Wars 2 had an expansion come out. I am a huge fan of Guild Wars. Have been since the first one released. And you know what? Screw it. This is a vlog. I can talk about whatever the hell I want. I spend way too much time talking about the channel and what the hell is going on with it. How about I actually just make it a vlog and talk about Guild Wars for a while and my own memories and the like? I'll even take advantage of the whole chapters thing and talk about that. So screw that. I'll do that. Let me just sit down for a minute, okay? Give me a moment. Okay, I think this works. Now then, as I was saying, Guild Wars. Let's have a little talk there, shall we? I've been a fan of Guild Wars for a very long time and pretty much played it since it began. It was more or less my first MMO, unless you count Adventure Quest and RuneScape, but I don't know if there's count in the same way. But it came out back when God, I don't remember the year, but it was back when you needed a subscription in order to play an MMO. There was no free MMOs, which was kind of Guild Wars' selling point. You buy the game and you get it. You don't need to get a whole bunch of you don't need to pay a subscription every month. Obviously, that would be appealing to someone who still relies on their parents for money. I even remember I got it just before my birthday occurred. And since I had been talking about it so much at the time, my parents were actually a little annoyed because I think they had already ordered it or gotten it or something. So, in respect, I basically said, okay, I'm sorry. Even though I have the game, I'm not going to play it until my birthday. So I did. It seemed the right thing to do. So, of course, I started playing on my birthday, and I played Guild Wars so much. It was my game of choice at the time. I played through the campaign beginning to end. I explored everywhere. I explored the entire map and uncovered almost all of it. I say almost all because of the whole achievements thing that they added several years later, which showed I had actually only explored about 99.6% or something like that on my own without even intending it. Maybe it was more like 98 or something. I don't know. I never did the whole scraping the edges thing, so I never actually got that achievement. Regardless, I enjoyed it. I played it so much, and I played the expansions too. I played Factions. I played Nightfall. I played Eye of the North, and especially when I found out about the Guild Wars 2 coming out, I was eager. And when it came out, I was happy. I enjoyed it. Coming into areas that I remember from the original game and seeing even references that most people wouldn't know. That one area in over on the edge of Maguma, a sort of ruined fort, Fort Koga, that was it. In the In the new game, it was an old ruined fort, which had a hero skill point or something, which, if you activated it, you had to run up and catch some sort of ghost who ran around the entire area, constantly unable to be caught. God, I remember how that was a reference to something that was done by the people by the players in the original Guild Wars. Fort Koga was a PvP arena, 4 versus 4, and one thing that always happened was it was a big round ring. So something that often happened was you'd bring it down to one player who wasn't built for killing. Instead, what he was built for was running and not being knocked down. That was it. So for the entire game, he would end up running around the entire circle of the arena while the other players chased after him, unable to knock him down or stun him because he had just the abilities to keep that from happening. And he would do that until the other players just quit out of frustration. The fact that they turned that into a hero point in Guild Wars 2 just was so entertaining to me. And I still remember other things that happened in the original Guild Wars that I encountered. The the Draknar's run, the events with Gale Grey, the I remember hearing about the whole thing that happened with Gwen in the demo or preview, but I never saw it, unfortunately. It's all those things. I even tried and came up with a whole big idea of a big, massive run that would go from as far to the east as you could get to as far to the west as you could get. I even called it the Escrivi. Nothing even ever came of it, and I wasn't a runner, so I couldn't do that much, but I did it. I still even remember the guild I was in. It wasn't like a super mega awesome guild, but it was a decent guild. Simply Tasteful Delicacies, they called themselves. Had the guild tag of STD. It took me a very long time to realize what those letters also meant. Look, I never made the connection. I was young at first, and then it just never hit me. Okay, it never connected. Nightfall. I remember it. It was nice having the heroes, and although as interesting as it was to have a region that was African themed, not desert themed, African themed, there is a difference. I never liked it that much just because of how brown it was. It felt samey, even if it was different and unique. And and I know I'm rambling, shush. And Guild Wars 2, of course. When we went to Alona, it was nice to see the way it changed and the stories and all that. As I'm you know me, I'm a story kind of person. I'm not a build crafter. I wasn't one for PvP. I followed the story. I followed the lore. I did the missions. I did all that. And occasionally like the areas. So let's go to the current one. End of Dragons, the newest one, which takes place in Cantha, something that people have been looking for a long time. So have I. I still remember Factions, the first expansion that Guild Wars came out with, which again took place in an Asian-themed area. And it was. There were some nice areas. The first area, Xingje Island, it was lovely in its own right. Kaining City, the main city, was very unique in its appearance. All those sticks and wooden houses all built one on top of each other, making massive blocks. Thinking about it, I wonder if they took inspiration from that block city that was unfortunately torn down, but it was like incredibly dense. That was pretty neat. Echovald Forest. I didn't care for that area. It was okay, just to explain the lore to it slightly, the idea behind it was that I think a couple hundred years before, some powerful person named Shiro Tagachi had killed the emperor. He was killed shortly after by a couple people, and when he died, he let off a scream that released something called the Jade Wind, which On the one hand, it turned the Echovold forest completely to stone. Thinking about it, I don't think the graphics of the time were really up to it because, in all honesty, even though the idea was it was a massive forest of stone, it didn't feel it. The trees just looked like trees, and the entire place was dark, grim, moody, inhabited by emo goths in some gothic architecture that wasn't even really built into the trees. You'd think they would have, but it was just a dark, gloomy forest, and I didn't care for the Kurziks. But the Luxons and the Jade Sea. When the Jade Wind was shouted, the Jade Sea, which was a massive sea, it roiled and frothed, and until eventually the wind washed over it and froze it all in an instant. Waves frozen mid-break, swells massively high, holding ships up in the air, gentle caresses in the areas near the beaches, all of it walking upon it, frozen in time. The Jade Sea is the most beautiful area in Guild Wars 2, in any MMO, and possibly in any game I have ever played. I loved that region so much, and I really don't know if I've ever encountered anywhere just as beautiful. If there was any place in a video game I'd want to live, that would be it. I I was happy to have Cantha coming back in Guild Wars 2, if only because I'd be able to see the Jade Sea again. I haven't gotten that far in the game yet. I've only been to the first region. The expansion just came out on Monday, and I'm very busy with things such as work and classes and this and the streams, and I'll get a little bit done tonight, but still, it's not gonna get much until this weekend, I don't know. Anyway, I am just happy to be able to see it, and I hope what we find when I get to it in Guild Wars 2 will be able to live up to what I remember and be just as beautiful. But that will come soon enough. Has there been anything else from Guild Wars that I remember that stands out in my memory? I guess there have been a few events, a few moments. I guess I can relate one more story. One event that happened when I was playing factions. From what I remember, because again, this was many years ago, I was going into the Echovold Forest, into one of the instance areas with, I want to say, 3 other people. Me, 3 other people. Now, something you need to know is in Guild Wars 2, you can drop items on the ground when in an instance area, and it's just sitting there. It appears there. You can't ping an item to show it off, but you can drop things on the ground, and that way other people can have them. It's that or trade. And that's something that you can do. Well, one of the players in the group, as we were fighting our way through the area, he regularly ended up dropping one of his pieces of gear. Each time it was a gold piece of gear, which was the highest tier at the time, the rarest type. And he would regularly stop, drop a gold piece on the ground, and then a few seconds later, pick it back up again. I'm pretty sure what he was doing was basically just going, "Oh, look at all this incredible gear I have. Oh, isn't it incredible? Worship me, enjoy me, for I have rare loot." I'm pretty sure he was doing something like that. Well, at one point, he was a little slow on the trigger, and one of the other players managed to pick up that piece of gear before he was able to pick it back up. Because if you drop something on the ground, anyone can pick it up. Well, anyone in the instance. Obviously, the guy dropping him proceeded to freak out and started shouting at the guy. "What the hell? Why did you take my gear, dude? That was mine. Why did you take it?" course, the other guy would shout right back, "Why are you angry at me? You were dropping it on the ground. It's not my fault. If you couldn't hold on to it, you were putting it there." And they just went back and forth and shouted at each other. Me and the remaining guy, we just stood there watching us for a few moments, then looked at each other, shrugged, turned around, walked right away from them, and kept on going. Eventually, we made it to the area we were trying to get to, and the other two guys were gone and no longer with us when we got to the next area. Even though I know what actually happened, I like to envision that to this day, those two people, or at least their corpses or skulls, are still sitting there in the middle of a pool of water deep in the Echovald forest, still arguing with each other over who owns that piece of gold gear. Ah, a nice memory. Much better than the time that one dick was the only surviving member of our party and basically just stood there for 10 minutes dancing on our corpses until the one piece of rare obsidian shard actually became available to anyone, at which point he grabbed it and ran off with my obsidian shard, leaving the rest of us dead on the ground because lulz. But I'm not bitter. So, that was those were a few of the things I remember for Guild Wars 2. As I said, I do remember other things. I remember seeing Gale Gray once or twice, the community manager, well known for frogs. I remember going through the various missions and the like, bit to bit, end to end, completing all of them, even the hard mode versions. I remember encountering the expansions each time they began, completing everything in all of them, every quest, every mission. And I still kept that same damn helmet that I got in the first game throughout the entire thing on my character. A stupid looking helmet with two big horns on either side of the head. I mean, hey, it was part of my character at the time. Although I did kinda upgrade the other armor pieces over time. And yes, for the record, I was a whammo. I was a warrior monk. Say what you want, it worked. In Guild Wars 2, yeah, I ended up going with a warrior. What can I say? You know how I am. I'm a sword and board guy, even though that changed in Guild Wars 2. But that's just because of how skillets work. Guild Wars 2, I may not be doing as much with guilds or the like, and while I did enjoy World versus World for a while, I have drifted away from it in a way. I come back in when there's a story update and then leave for a while until the next one, and that's how it is there as I play other games. It may not be the same as when I did Guild Wars so long ago, but I still enjoy it, and it's nice to be able to play the game. So, that said, I will admit, just because I want to play more of the game and I have enough of a backlog left over, Sunday I won't be doing any streams. So, no stream cord on Sunday. Saturday I'll still do the whole thing. I'll do the stream cord in the morning and the regular stream in the afternoon, but Sunday I just want to do some Guild Wars, okay? Is that alright? Thank you. And speaking of which, just a slight change. I know I've been posting those I'm streaming now videos on YouTube. Yeah, I'm just going to stop that because truth be told, is an extra step, and honestly, I've noticed only like one or two people ever actually see them. So those of you who watch my videos, you know when I stream, okay? And if you don't, normally I stream for 2 hours from 8 o'clock to 10-ish on Saturday and Sunday mornings, and I start streaming at 1 o'clock for another 4 hours as a foul stream on Saturday afternoons. This is Eastern time, by the way. So, those are the times, you know them. That said, I think this recording has gone on long enough. So, I'm going to go ahead and end everything here. Thank you for watching, anyone who happened to watch here. I can't believe I was actually going to say it, but like, comment, subscribe, etc. But mainly comment. I want to hear your comments on the things I talked about earlier. If you happen to play Guild Wars or Guild Wars 2 and have any stories or information there, feel free to comment and leave them below. I do read all of them. I have to. I mean, there's no reason for me not to read all of them. Even if I don't comment, I still read them all. So go right ahead. And I shall see you all next time. Fare thee well. Okay, and that's enough of that. Let's stop the recording. That was quite a while.